Everyone knows cruise lines are growing. Bigger ships, new destinations, record bookings. But here's what most people aren't paying attention to. The ports are quietly telling a very different story. And this week, one of them made it official. Hi, I'm Angela from Grab Your Bags Travel. This is the Week Report. We've got 3 port stories, a European travel update, a new family feature from Royal Caribbean, and your question of the week. So let's get into it. Our first story takes us to Charleston, South Carolina. After years of welcoming cruise passengers, Charleston's Union Pier Terminal has officially ended its time as a cruise port. For many travelers, Charleston wasn't just another embarkation city. It offered a chance to combine a cruise vacation with a few days exploring one of America's most charming and historic cities. The closure marks the end of an era for the terminal as local leaders move forward with plans to redevelop the waterfront into a mixed-use community featuring parks, public spaces, housing, and commercial development. Cruising has been a topic of debate in Charleston. While cruise tourism brought visitors and economic benefits to local businesses, residents also raised concerns over traffic, congestion, and preserving the city's historic character. The final departure symbolizes more than the closing of a terminal. It reflects the balancing act many destinations face as they weigh tourism growth against community priorities. As cruise ships continue getting larger and carrying more passengers than ever before, ports around the world are making very different decisions. Some are investing billions to welcome more ships, while others are deciding that cruise tourism no longer fits their long-term vision. And that brings us to our next story. While Charleston is closing the door on cruise operations, Carnival Cruise Line is doing exactly the opposite in the Bahamas. Construction continues at Celebration Key, Carnival's brand new private destination on the Grand Bahama Island. And this week, the company announced another milestone with the completion of an extension to one of its cruise piers. The expanded pier will allow destinations to accommodate even more of Carnival's largest ships and gives the cruise line additional flexibility as demand continues to grow. Private destinations have become one of the biggest competitive advantages in cruising today. They're designed specifically for cruise guests, allowing cruise line to control the guest experience while offering beaches, pools, dining, entertainment, and shore excursions tailored to their own passengers. For Carnival, Celebration Key is expected to become one of the centerpiece destinations across its fleet for years to come. But not every project is moving forward quite smoothly. If you ever cruised from Rome, you probably discovered one thing very quickly. Your cruise doesn't actually begin in Rome. Most Mediterranean cruises depart from Civitavecchia, located roughly an hour from the city by train or bus. Royal Caribbean has supported plans for a new cruise facility much closer to Rome, a project that would have made embarkation far more convenient for travelers flying and staying into the internal city. This week, however, those plans hit another obstacle after an Italian court rejected key portions of the proposed development. Environmental concerns and legal challenges have continued to slow progress on the project. While the decision doesn't necessarily end the proposal permanently, it does represent another delay in what has already become a lengthy approval process. This also comes at a time when Royal Caribbean has faced increased scrutiny on several destination development projects around the world. You remember we discussed the setback they are having with the Mexican government and Perfect Day Mexico. Had this project moved forward, Royal had planned for the cruise pier, marina, hotel, restaurants, shops, public green space, and a large waterfront park. It also could have made embarkation much easier for future Mediterranean cruisers by significantly reducing transfer times from the city and nearby airports. And speaking of Europe, there's some news to know for anyone planning a Mediterranean or North European cruise. The European Union's ETIAS, or ETIAS as some say, travel authorization program has reportedly been delayed once again and is now expected to begin in 2027. The official website still shows Q4 2026, but reports are reporting toward a 2027 start. There's no confirmed new date yet, but I'll update you the moment that changes. Now, reports of the delayed ETIAS rollout also come amid widespread travel headaches across Europe being blamed on the EU's new electronic entry-exit system at airports. When the program does begin, ETIAS will require visitors from visa-exempt nations, including the United States and Canada, to pay a $23 fee to obtain pre-travel screening approval before entering the 30 European countries. The fee is waived for people who are older than 70 years old. Travelers who obtain ETIAS will be good for 3 years or until their passport expires. And as always, before traveling internationally, make sure you check the latest entry requirements for every country on your itinerary. Before we head over to this week's comment deck, here's a quick update for families sailing with Royal Caribbean. If you've ever spent part of your cruise wondering where your kids disappeared to, Royal Caribbean is introducing a feature that could give parents a little more peace of mind. The cruise line is expanding its WOW bands with a new Find My Kid feature on its upcoming ship, Legend of the Seas. The wearable bands allow parents to see the general location of their children ages 3 to 12 through the Royal Caribbean app while they're participating in the Adventure Ocean Youth programs. The feature is designed to help parents locate children who are checked into the youth program, making pickup easier and reducing those "where are they now" moments. This is the second Icon class ship to have this feature, with Star of the Seas also having the programs. Bands are $14.99 to purchase at the time of this recording. It doesn't include tweens and teens, and I think that would be a nicer feature to include as well. This technology is similar to Princess Cruise Ocean Medallion's shipmate tracker, which our party found very useful when we were wondering where our family went. Last week on My Radar segment, I talked about the trend I have noticed about ports being dropped or switched due to port availability. Well, one viewer asked a question in her comment that I think is something more of you would be interested in talking about. The viewer asked, "I would like to ask your thoughts on what will happen to these mega ships when the novelty of cruising wanes or the economy does not provide us with a disposable income for cruising. Will there be massive fare discounts like after the pandemic to keep the cruise market strong?" First of all, thank you very much for your thoughtful question. I'm sure it's actually something many people have wondered as cruise ships continue getting bigger and bigger, and pricing is getting higher as well. Personally, I don't think we're anywhere near the point where the industry has built too many ships. In fact, cruise lines continue reporting strong demand, high occupancy, and many itineraries are selling out well in advance. But that doesn't mean the industry is immune to economic slowdowns. If demand were to soften, I don't think the first response would be empty ships. More likely, we'd see cruise lines become more competitive through lower fares, onboard credit offers, free upgrades, beverage package promotions, reduced deposits, or loyalty incentives. We've seen those kinds of promotions before during slower booking periods. The incredible deals we see immediately after the pandemic were really the result of a once-in-a-generation event where ships had been sitting idle for months. I don't think that's the benchmark we should use for normal economic cycles. Another thing to remember is that cruise lines have several options before retiring ships. Older ships can move into different markets, serve new regions around the world, be chartered, sold to other cruise companies, or eventually retire after decades of service. So while nobody can predict exactly what the future holds, I think the cruise industry has become remarkably good at adjusting to changing demand. But now I'd love to hear from all of you. What do you think? Will these mega ships continue sailing full for years to come? Or do you think we'll eventually see another era of incredible cruise bargains? Leave your thoughts in the comments. You might see your question featured in the next comment deck. And now before I let you go this week, here's a tip that could have saved your vacation, and I promise you, I saw this exact scenario to play out on my last sailing. We do not want to be these people, pier runners. You would be surprised how many just make the ship or miss it altogether. In fact, you probably do when you hear people's names being called right before you sail away, asking to come to guest services. But I bring this up because I was on a cruise recently and I was struck how the maitre d' who was walking around the tables greeting people gave the wrong information. He said that Cozumel local time will be an hour behind us, so we need to change our clocks. Which it was. However, the ship never had us change our clocks, as they always make an announcement to do it if we need to. Now, if people listened to that maitre d', they wouldn't have been on ship's time and could have potentially missed the ship because they were set an hour behind on Cozumel time. So if you're heading ashore during a port day, always make sure you're keeping track of ship time, not necessarily the local time of the port. Your cruise line will clearly tell you what time you need to be back on board. That's the time that matters. If your phone automatically changes to the local time zone, or you're relying on a smartwatch that updates itself, you could accidentally return late. So be watchful of that too. Unfortunately, cruise ships don't wait for late passengers. As entertaining as those videos of frantic pier runners might be to watch, I promise you, you don't want to star in one. So before you leave the ship, double check your watch, your phone, and your cruise line's daily schedule. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Wake Report. If you found today's episode helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps more cruise lovers find the show, and it lets YouTube know you're enjoying this content. If you're planning your next cruise and would like a little help finding the right ship, an itinerary, or deal, I'd love to help. You can always reach out to me through Grab Your Bags Travel. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me today. Happy cruising!